We're bringing you boots on the ground insight from the ranchers, conservationists, and partners who are helping to preserve the best of the Golden State for generations to come. Join the California Rangeland Trust for inspiring stories of resilience, innovation, and hope as we get tuned into the land.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tune Into the Land. I'm your host and CEO of the California Rangeland Trust, Michael Delbar. Here at the Rangeland Trust, we're privileged to work alongside people whose lives are built around caring for the land. Ranchers understand that the health of the land is the foundation of everything they do. This deep conservation ethic, rooted in responsibility and stewardship, is at the heart of their way of life. But caring for the land isn't always easy. It demands grit, adaptability, and a willingness to face challenges head-on. From water scarcity and natural disasters to shifting regulations and rising input costs, the pressures are real and they're often compounding. If you've been listening for a while, you've probably heard me say this before, that today's ranchers are facing a death by 1,000 cuts. And yet, in the face of these trials, ranchers continue on with a quiet resilience that speaks volumes about their dedication to the land and their way of life. As Ben Elgoriaga, who's the owner of Elgoriaga Ranch, puts it, sometimes fighting is just putting your boots on and being there for work the next day. That's the kind of strength that defines this community. You may have seen the Elgoriaga's family story in Rangeland Trust documentary, You Just Can't See Them from the Road. But today we're taking you even deeper. The Elgoriagas have ranched in California's Central Valley for generations. They've weathered regulatory burdens, shrinking water supplies, and market fluctuations with passion, persistence, and creativity. In this episode, I sit down with 4 of Ben's adult children, Stephen, Peter, Paul, and Christina, to talk about growing up on the ranch, the values that have carried them through, and their hopes for the next generation that's already being raised on the ranch. This is more than a family story. It's a glimpse into the everyday realities of ranching in modern California, and a reminder, frankly, of what's at stake when we talk about protecting working lands and supporting the people who steward them. So with that, here's my conversation with the Elgoriagas. I'd like to introduce the Elgoriaga family to the podcast. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hi there.
If we go around and introduce yourselves and talk about what your role on the ranch is, we'll start with Christina.
Christina Elgoriaga Etchemendy. And my role on the ranch probably is in the office, most part. Didn't start out that way, but it has evolved. Yeah.
Paul?
My role on the ranch. I don't know what my role on the ranch is, but I know when I'm there, I'm busy. So usually it's keeping things running, mechanically based things, pipelines, water lines. That's mostly what I do.
Peter?
Our ranch, we've got some almonds, some pistachios. I farm them with my sons, and we have a labor contractor that helps us as well. And water management, water budgeting. It's up on the cattle ranch, sheep ranch. This past year, we went ahead and put in some of those monitors for water levels of the tank. And so that's been a kind of a new thing. But yeah, pretty much just farming, and I fill in where they need help. I also drive truck, but we're hauling our livestock along with these 2 guys, Stephen and Paul. And Christina, your part, she didn't do a real good job describing what she does. At branding, she's there. She brings her kids, and they're learning the vaccinating and branding and the whole deal. So she sold herself a little short there.
Thanks,
so,
Peter.
Yeah. And so is Benita. She's not here, but her family as well.
Great. And Stephen?
Well, I work mostly with the day-to-day, the sheep, the cattle, coordinating, sales, all the activities it takes to keep the ranch running. So it's not just the ranch, it's everything else along with it. So, and crosses over in a lot of places.
And as they mentioned, Benita, she was not able to come, but same thing. Her kids show up, brandings, help move cows. I mean, whatever's needed. So it's basically a team of people. That's what it takes.
Well, you have a pretty good sized team. Is it still 26 kids between the 5 of you?
I don't know.
You need a calculator?
Take your shoes off. Do some counting.
So what's the history of the ranch? Your grandfather immigrated here from the Basque Country. Why don't you tell a little bit about the history and how that happened?
Christine's probably the best for that. She's the historian.
Right. So he came over in about 1919. And so he was in his mid-20s. And I mean, really, he came here like any immigrant, looking for a better future, more profitable where he came from. It was during the Franco era. So that was, very tough times. But coming here, he saw the opportunity. He had family that was already here, and other Basque immigrants had slowly started to trickle in. So after I think he saw and heard, he was one of those people, was able to successfully kind of take a leadership role for other immigrants, and he would find housing for them. Got into the livestock business, started with the sheep, which is pretty typical for Basque people. It's either sheep, dairy, restaurants, or gardening. And anyway, so when he came over, he was running the livestock, the sheep, and continuously grew. And then met my grandmother, I believe, when he was about 50, about a 25-year difference in their age. And then they had my dad and Aunt Benita, and they continued to grow the sheep business into the cattle business, bought a little piece of the ranch that we're talking about. And us children had never met him. So it is an emotional topic because it is the only tangible thing that us kids have of him. So it's like to touch and to feel like that's probably the closest place you can feel him is up there.
Wow.
So to say it simply.
He said he helped other families get established. And that's something that your dad, Ben, still does in the workers that come over from Peru and help with the sheep. Can you talk a little bit about how he's helping to carry on that tradition? Yeah,
it's the Basque immigrants per se that they don't come over to herd sheep anymore. Now it's through the H2A program. They've tried different countries, Mexico. Currently, it's Peru is the main one where they come over on. And I mean, these guys that work with us, they're like family. I married a sheep family, so I get it on both sides. And some of the guys that worked for my dad was the same age as me. So I'd be out there working with the sheep when I was young, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's the same age as me. And he left. But now, like, I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he's got his own lifestyle business.
I don't think we have anybody
there.
that old that works for us.
Oh, very funny. But it's crazy. Like, I see this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this guy was able to come here, like my grandfather, take this money back and create this incredible future for his family. And so they become friends. There's a very, tight relationship with the people that stay for a long time because they are sacrificing a lot. So, and we see that, we know it. Our family's done it. So, we're invested like they are. It's an emotional,
To your question about furthering that, about how they're helping, how this family's helping this current generation of immigrants come over and better themselves. Our grandfather was one of the founding members of the Western Range Association, whom Steve is a vice president of, I think, right now. So he might have a better point on, or a angle on how people are currently coming over and being helped.
Yeah, well, it like I said, it hasn't really changed. It's just different places in the world. And it seems like sheep herders typically come from the places that are most impoverished. They have a similar topography there, similar lifestyle, but the Basque, when they first came over, there wasn't any opportunity there. Said, well, And as far as our grandpa goes, he left following his brothers. His brother was here already. And the way it was you would get sponsored by someone to come over before the H-2A program was put in place, which was started by the sheepmen. And through connections politically and this, that, and the other. And they got a program specially designed for the sheep to bring sheepers over because it's such a unique necessity to be there. You have to be with the livestock. And it was mostly open range, a lot of fence now, but it was open range for the most part. So things would happen and you'd have to attend them at that time. Didn't matter what time of day it was. But yeah, we've got men. We've got one or two men. One just got a green card. One is in the process of getting it, and they've been with us quite a few years. And that's a whole different topic because the immigration system, what the problems we're having in the United States now, the process for to do it legally is ridiculous. This guy's been here 8 years. He hasn't been able to go home. If you go home, you may or may not be able to make it back.
So you mentioned the topography that is similar here. Is that what drew your grandfather to the ranch?
Not maybe in some regard because it's hilly, but from the Basque Country, which I've never been to, but these other two have, is very beautiful and green. I think here our rainfalls this year, we had about 4 inches on one side and about 5 or 6 on the other. So it's way different as far as rainfall. An average is 7 inches a year, which is fine if you know how to work the country and it comes timing's right. But the reason the west side was unique because the part of it was the feed, the value. Sheep are kind of a desert animal anyway, typically. And well, there was a lot of farming on the west side, dry farms and irrigated wheats and barleys and things like that. And those hills are right there above I-5. And there weren't any fences there before. I-5 wasn't there before. And they would trail across the valley, go to Merced in that area, to Lamb, to the Murrieta on the west side around Mendota, and then up the hill for the spring, and then come back down and do it all over again. Spend the summer on the west side in the stubbles, and then migrate back towards Merced, and then they would walk.
Wow. The
Mendota Dam, which is irrelevant almost, but they used to cross that. Anyway, on foot, no trucks. Only trucks the lamb saw was when they were shipped. So, and it's a unique area because when you drive by, you look up, well, it's just desolate open ground. There's nothing up there, but you'd be surprised what's up there.
It's different when you get up there. So besides the sheep and now back into the cattle business, almonds, pistachios, pretty diversified operation.
Well, necessarily so. Some ranching families, everybody kind of sucks off the tit, right? Well, how many families can a ranch support? Not many. Because mom and dad still eat, last I checked, and they still have a mortgage. So necessarily when Peter, starting with Stephen, he's the oldest. He worked for a sheep ranch out of Idaho and started there. Peter went to work for a farming outfit right out of college with an animal science degree. Went to go farming because he had to have a degree, right? And it worked. So Peter, I would say, got us into the farming end of things. He saw the opportunity with the pistachio harvesting. The pistachio harvesting has helped leverage a lot of this stuff, carry the heavy weight on a lot of the ventures we've taken. But as far as diversification and sucking off the tit, he needed a job because he couldn't work on the ranch. He needed a job because he didn't work on the ranch, and he bought his own sheep shortly after he worked for that sheep outfit. Christina and her family, they're kind of like ours in a way as far as diversification, livestock and farming and some custom work. My sister Benita the same way. And then for myself and my family, I was going to work at the truck place down the street. And my dad said, think you could run pistachio machines? I was 19. Sure, Dad, no problem. And right. And so that's how we got started in that. And it's been good. We've all been able to work together and argue together while working. But those cows at the ranch that are up there, or even the sheep that are up there, we don't all need them simultaneously. That's someone's, but we enjoy going up there to work the cows. We all have a few cows. And we all enjoy going up there to work on them. But except for mom and dad, we don't have to have them because of the diversification that especially these older boys developed early on. We're able to enjoy the lifestyle without having to fight over it because we all depend on it to pay the mortgage at the end of the month.
So what was it like for the 5 of you growing up on this ranch?
Just like you'd expect. We actually work really well together. A lot of it was developing water systems because, like I said, our grandfather developed the ranch water systems. Well, they were lousy. There's no water up there. And what is there is lousy. It's just lousy water. There's not much of it.
Or a little. Right.
So losing a tank of water was something to cry over, literally. And in the 90s, mom and dad had a partnership with Shane Enterprises out of Dixon, and that gave them the gas. Because mom and dad had the ranch. Shane Enterprises wanted to put their livestock on it, but we need water. We'll put the water in. I don't know what agreement they came to, rent or whatever. But that got us water out of the San Luis Aqueduct, fresh Shasta water up there, which was my grandfather's dream to get it up to the top of the ranch where he could gravity it down. So that satisfied that dream. And guess who put the pipeline in? I pulled the bucket, the grease bucket begrudgingly on my little radio flyer wagon so I could grease the joints.
I remember that.
And she was driving the pickup that blew the radiator hose, throwing out pipe on my dad's pickup. I remember exactly where it happened. And we worked well together. We did. We argue, sure, but we did work well together.
We spent a lot of summers up there. We would through the year or two, but summertime, this ranch improvement.
Yeah.
It was, I was too little, but I remember like mom telling us stories because there was no cell phones, right? So dad would go up there, fix water pipes. Usually the boys were with him. But I think this time, you guys were probably really little. He had broke his leg up there. He had jacked up a pipe.
Oh, the Widowmakers.
Yeah, you can tell me if I'm saying this wrong. But he had jacked it up. Basically, it fell on his leg, broke his leg. So he had to walk, I think, a couple miles with a shovel.
I don't know. He drove a stick shift with his.
He had to walk something out with a shovel, mom said. I remember that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But anyway, she knew something was wrong because he hadn't come home yet. So I think she went looking for him. Right? Does that sound right? But anyway, the point of me telling that story is that is how much went into the water system. Like pipe breaks, animals die. They need water. So that's what he would be doing late at night. And it's being passed on, which is not difficult. It is very difficult, but that is why Peter has taken a proactive role to try to find this more modernized monitoring system so that we can be more efficient. It's not foolproof, but
there's companies out there that do it, but then I saw the price point on it. I was like, we have a lot of tanks. So the same guys that do our irrigation management, they have neutron probes and different things in it. So basically a piece of pipe that goes in the ground and it measures the moisture in the dirt. And I go, hey, can you look at a column of water? You're basically doing that now on all these different sites we've got. He goes, yeah. Can you do it on a tank? He goes, yep. I go, how much do you think it'd be? He said, we're buddies, right? And I said, yeah, we're buddies. And he goes, so, I said, I'll barbecue. You bring the wine. So he brought one of his co-worker. Well, the guy owns the company. So he brought one of his employees, nice guy, the kind of the technical side of it. And we go up there we try to go up there every Friday. It doesn't always work out that way, but it's an excuse to go up there and barbecue and work on the ranch. And it's like, Pete, if you get phone calls from these guys, what are you doing? Working at the ranch, barbecuing. And these guys are on top of a tank with a ladder and they're trying to get this thing to work. So, we've been pretty successful at it. We use that system now and they're working the kinks out of it, but water's everything up there. As Michael, we were talking about that earlier, even from where you're from, just water's everything. Hell, you can gather our ranch without a horse. Just turn the trough off and they'll go to the next one. So you need a degree in plumbing to work at our ranch. And where it's gotten a lot better. Quality of repairs is big. We've had some guys that worked for us in the past. Some of these H2 guys, some of their repairs weren't the best. They held, but they rebroke. So we're doing a little bit of that now and getting my sons caught up to speed on the water system. Steve's daughter, Julia, she's also up there. Even Ben comes up from time to time. The next generation is learning how did that ranch work. So it's already started. So I think we started off with water. So it goes back to it.
Circling back, you were asking about us kids, like, as we talked about the ranch, I mean, it was purchased for sheep, right? So it's changed over the years, obviously with the cows, but if it rained, Dad took the sheep up to the ranch if there was feed. That was, I mean, like I said, the management of it has changed. But as kids, that type of dirt, when it gets wet, there's no vehicle going up there. So my dad would drop us off at the bottom of the hill. Sheep are out. He would say, okay, start walking. Oh. And you've been to the bottom of the ranch.
At the bottom of I-5. Like we start at Cam Avenue and then start walking.
Wow. All the way up the hill.
Yeah.
That's a trek.
Which is how it was. You asked how it started. Our grandfather, where Cam Avenue and Interstate 5 are, that's what we're talking about. There's a road, old oilmen, like turn of the century oilmen built a road up there. And he effectively followed that road to the top of the ranch. I don't know if we went all the way top, but close enough to where we have our tanks now, where we gravity feed down from. And that was the impetus, the drive, the inspiration to for that ranch, that piece of property. It was the high spot. You could water down from it. So even with the sheep, water was everything up there. They'd feed them water once a day. Had it with the jack pump. We have a little bit of motor out in the shop right now. It was an old cowboy's well. They'd pump them once a day, water, and that was it. And he, from that spot, it's not far from the top, and that from there is where we water from still. Which,
that they talked about, like Steven, or I forget which one you guys said about the sheep, never saw a truck. They would get shipped off. So if the sheep were up at the ranch, it was like, based on what I've seen in pictures and stories from my dad, at the cookhouse, that's where the lamb buyers would show up before us with my grandfather and my dad. And it was like a little party / bass picnic of
sharing.
That, who
it was like in the 50s, 60s and early 70s.
I mean, we had a picture of it and I was like, couldn't even imagine like how awesome that would be.
Right.
But that was pictures I've seen and what I remember as a child, like the prettiest animals came off those hills when it was wet. And it's changed and evolved, and integrating the cattle and feed management and water management and all that. When we were over at Cal Poly, Dad would say, okay, cattle need to be moved. So we would come over in one car and then meet them up there, do what we needed to do, and then go back to school. And that would be some of the weekends. And those, I genuinely, and Benita would say the same, those were very fond memories. I mean, up in a place like that, like the mental freedom, like we didn't have social media at that time, but like talk about leaving with a clear head. That's what that ranch offers, is a lot of, besides emotional ties, it kind of brings you back to the basics and the roots, and kind of clears your head for the next day.
Do you think being raised on that ranch, how do you think that's influenced who you are today?
Everything. I mean, really.
You don't give up. You don't quit.
Tenacity.
Yeah.
Because
teamwork.
Yeah. Tenacity and teamwork. Yeah. Because you almost can't do it by yourself. When there's times when you need help. There's a lot of times you can do it by yourself. There comes that tenacity. It's like, that pipe's broken. It's getting dark. I still have to fix it, right? So there's the tenacity, because you know damn well that you can't leave. You can't leave until it's done. I mean, there are exceptions, of course. You have another day.
It's like you're tired you're tired, so I can't do anymore. And then you think about it for me, you're like, yeah, I can't.
It has to be
But
done.
that's why the boys are like this, because they would stay up there with dad for the most part, usually them. They would stay up and they knew. The only reason they know that is because they learned that as a little kid.
It was
so
in
that it's made them who they are.
It was when you and I were at Cal Poly. I was about done. You're just behind me. It froze. It was like in 1999 or 98. It froze hard in the valley floor and up there. And we had a 2 7/8 inch steel oil field pipeline that conveyed the water from the piston pump to Ciervo, and it must have cracked in 30 spots. And we had cattle up there. And do you remember this, Steve?
Oh, I remember.
We stayed up. Steve and I stayed up for like 3 or 4 days. I think Paul was there too. Then we couldn't find them because it was above ground. So we'd have someone would stay down there and turn the generator on and start sending water. And when a leak popped up, they'd turn it off. And then I think Steve was the welder of the two. I'm not a very good welder at all, but so he welded the crack. And then I think we would sleep on the ground for a little bit. We wanted just a shower so bad you didn't even know. I'm not kidding. People would bring us food because there's cows were there. We held the water up on top, and then it would gravity flow down to the troughs, right? But we couldn't get water up.
We turned the water on during the day to get water and turn off at night.
Oh, yeah.
So it freeze, it wouldn't break and lose anymore.
First thing in the morning, I'd go around and break all the troughs.
Yeah.
When you talk about blood, sweat, and tears, yeah. And I'm sure other families have experienced the same type of deal, but this is, that was surreal because normally you don't get hard freezes like that out here in California, but it does it. I guess it did it in 91 too. And I'm sure it'll happen again. Hell, it froze in San Luis Obispo in the ocean.
That was the time when they had bag phones. The cell phone was a bag phone. So we had 2 of them. He was on the Honda with one of them, and we were up top. We get it welded. Okay, go turn it on.
No.
Remember? Or you came up.
The welder was the pump.
Oh, we ran it back and forth. We didn't have a welder.
Yeah.
We had the welder on the motor.
Yeah. The pump
That's
motor
right.
was the welder.
Yep. That's
so
right.
When it broke, you'd have
every time we ran it back and forth. So every time was farther.
Yeah, and it's not like a mile. That was a 5 or 6 mile ordeal back and forth on a dirt road.
Yeah, and then the second time it froze, it happened twice. We said we're going to get a welder this time, so we rented a welder from the U.S. Rentals or something.
No, that was the same bout.
Was that the same one?
Mom and Dad got us a welder because we were tired of running back and forth so much.
It's taking so much time.
Yeah.
So now you've got the next generation starting to get to the age where they can take on some of this.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It's rewarding. I mean, Julia, my daughter, she's the oldest of the grandchildren, and she graduated from University of Idaho and came back, went to work for a almond processor, packer, did that for a year, and she really likes livestock. So why don't you come work for us? Which, I mean, it's a double-edged sword when you say that. But it's been a pleasure having her on. She does a lot now. She drives truck. She moves livestock. She does management. She just the whole gamut. So it's rewarding. And then the other kids as well. They all help at some level. Some more than others. But it is rewarding to see.
It's like our family. Everyone's got their different role. So
Right.
it makes it work.
Well, that's it. But it's interesting now is the family, since there's so many of us, you kind of have to have your place so you don't roll over somebody kind of like, hey, I told them to do this or that or whatever. So it's an interesting kind of feathering together of skill sets because there's sometimes like Paul's down here trying to keep the machines going or building something. It's like, Paul, we need you to come up. I really don't have time, but he understands that he's got to go. Or if I need help, the booster pump broke down by Manning. You'll come help me fix it, or Steve will, or something like that. So what does it look like going forward? It looks exciting, and just continuing family.
What are some of the challenges that you face today that you think that your grandfather could never have envisioned as being a problem or a challenge?
Regulation.
Government. That's the number one hurdle.
Regulation. And some of the things we're facing now is people don't know what we do for a living. They don't understand where food comes from. they don't understand what goes into it, and they expect to keep our prices low. And it's like, it's for, I would say generally for farmers and ranchers, people are just too far disconnected. If they're not careful,
They take it for granted.
There won't be many of us left. Because back when my grandpa was around, people were from little 40 acre places, 20 acre. Everyone had a dairy cow. I know a few dairies that still exist. They own 500 cows. I don't know too many people that own 5 dairy cows. But I think back when grandma and grandpa were around, that wasn't pretty common. Chickens and cows. And there's just a huge disconnect right now. And the government is disconnected too. And they're taking a pretty big swat at us all the time.
In the last census, it showed we lost 10% of farms and ranches in the state of California. Some of those are gone forever. Some may have been swallowed up and merged into larger operations, but we still lost 10%. Cal Poly did a study on regulatory costs in 2006 at the request of some ag groups in Monterey County. They studied a lettuce grower, and they found that in 2006, the regulatory costs of doing business was 1.24% of their production cost. They updated that study in 2017, then again in 2023. And since 2006 to 2023, that regulatory burden increased 1,300%.
Wow.
It's now 12.6% of their production costs. Now, their receipts have not increased anywhere near that.
No.
So it shows the challenges that farmers and ranchers are facing in dealing with regulatory costs and the increasing burden upon them and their total overall production. And with small margins to begin with, that takes a big hit.
Yeah. And you spend your time with the time you don't have any free time anymore. Not that you ever, ranching is always something to do, but now the time that you would prefer to spend doing the things that a ranch does, you have to spend trying to fix what regulation inhibits you from doing or the cost adds to you. It's overwhelming.
I would say that it's always regulation and this and that. I'd say the biggest obstacle going forward is enthusiasm. I doubt my grandfather was in love with sheep. It was a profit as a way to make a living, to satisfy a dream. Come to America, own something, have a family. Did he love sheep? I doubt it. I think he liked them, but I doubt he was just enamored with it and read every book about sheep that ever made. I doubt it. He was enthusiastic. Just work hard. Work hard. You can sell wool to the army. You can do all kinds of stuff, make money. You can have something amazing. There's one part that's the lifestyle and one part that is the motivator. The lifestyle is cool. We all go into the feed store and see the cowboy in there, and he probably has a few cows and he's probably genuine, authentic. That's not how he makes his living. He's a fence builder, or he's a vet, or he's something different. He likes the lifestyle and we like the lifestyle, but there's not enough enthusiasm to go great guns into owning cows, sheep, whatever, to do it. I think the hardest thing facing us is enthusiasm, at least for me.
Oh, that is tied to profitability.
Exactly.
Well, you want to be proud about what you're doing, and you get rewarded with income. So it's like, hey, look what I did.
And if you're not enthusiastic about it, why the hell do it?
It's hard to pass it on. It's hard for the next generation. Everybody wants to continue, but okay, well, how do you pay the bills? Just because you love something or like doing it doesn't mean it's gonna pay the grocery bill at the end of the month.
And it's got to do more than that. You have to have something to pull you forward to dream.
It's got to be so you can look at maybe buying the next ranch or aspiring to something more, not just surviving. We want to thrive. We want to do like they did back in the 50s and 60s and early after the Great Depression. When they came back, there was a time of great prosperity and enthusiasm in the West Side, and places were booming and busting and growing and doing and produce, and it was amazing. I can't even imagine what it was like. And now you see things drying up and dwindling away. It's like, we need that again. I hope what the president's doing comes to fruition. I hope we do have another golden era, because we need it. It would help drive the agriculture or the rural life forward, because then people would see the profitability and the kids would say, well, I can make a living. There's room.
We do so many different things, all the way from farming, ranching, light trucking, we'll call it. We even do farmers markets now to sell our meat direct and to try to educate. So at some time you kind of have to, we're going to do all these things and we want to be highly successful at it. Most of the time it's moderately. But when you put all those together, it's like, this works. But the only downside of the thing is there's not a lot of free time. And every time you say, hey, in 2 weekends, let's go somewhere. And today it's free. Well, as soon as you get to 2 weeks from now and it's time to go, 2 things lined up on it. And it's like, I just need to stay here. And so, going forward, I am with Steve. I hope there's less government regulation moving forward, which maybe a pipe dream, but I can tell you right now, they're telling us July 1 gas prices are going to go up. We were at the coffee shop and one of the farmers out there goes, they want us to learn how to farm with 60% less water. How do you do that at 0 or 10%? There's such a large disconnect. And, it's when you're okay when you have it, you appreciate when you have it. When it's not there, everyone's going to wonder where to go. Well, if they're not careful, too many of us might leave, and it'll be gone. How do you get it back? Peru, Chile, foreign imports, this and that. And then you lose all control of where your food comes from. And right now, this family still controls where our food comes from. That's why we're fighting so hard to keep this thing viable and going.
Well, the enthusiasm, going back on what they said, it's different. Like, I hear this, I've heard it from my dad. I hear it from my father-in-law because he's from the Basque Country and he's the same as my grandfather. But those guys came over to this country with the power of nothing. They had nothing to lose. And what has happened over the years is we've been blessed enough to be able to continue to grow and thrive aside from the challenges. And the hardest part is to pass that enthusiasm because nobody wants to lose what they have. Everybody wants to make better what they have been given the opportunity to be around.
Do you want to hear one of the most exciting, scary things?
Oh God, what?
When your boys tell you, Dad, I want to be like you. It's like, do you know what you're signing up for to be like me?
But it has to make you proud, though, to hear that.
Yeah.
But it also scares you.
Yeah.
I'll never forget Dad telling us, it was us 3 boys in the pickup. It was kind of an overcast day. We were going through Mendota. And he said, boys, don't do what I do. There were hard times. I don't blame. I feel the same way for my kids. I hope they don't do what I do. I'd be proud if they did, but it's not the easiest thing we've ever done.
I kind of feel just the opposite. I want my girls to do what I do because I want them to be humbleized to know what it takes to get to this point. I don't want them to think that, oh, you want to go to Lululemon, that you can just swipe mom's card. That I want them to feel what it's like to go save for those $58 pair of shorts. You know, it's part of life.
Thank God I'll never know what it's like going to Lululemon.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
Some of the things we say we don't want is what America needs, though.
It is.
If people had to put through that fire and build that character and could think and do and produce, this nation would blossom by itself.
Well, even for us, we need, we're all going in different directions with our own families and still coming together. That's, to be honest with you, it's really going up to the ranch to work the cows. That's why we are doing it together, to maintain that unity. But it's even today for us talking about it, I can feel it. We were all a little stressed out coming in today, not because of today, just life. But I can feel it. Like the memories that are coming forth, it's like, all right, we're doing something right. Hopefully it all works out.
I'm sorry you feel that, Christina. I didn't have that at all.
That's what the ranch is. Going forward, the ranches, there's probably going to be, it's never going to make a living for all of us. It's going to provide an income for someone and maybe a little something for the rest, but it's going to be a place where everybody can come together, make memories, build character, experiences, and all the rest of it.
Well, first of all, y'all have done an amazing job. Your mom and dad, with what your grandfather started, have created a family and a ranch that is just, it's amazing. It's despite all the challenges, all the regulatory challenges, and poor Christina probably has to do all the paperwork for them, and you all have to figure out how to make them work. You survived, and you're surviving, and you're doing a great job at that. And you're creating an environment and a culture and a laboratory in which your children are learning and growing and becoming just as you are. And as you said, Peter, they want to be like you. Your kids want to be like you. And that does kind of make you go, boy. But, as a father, that's my reaction. But it's also a lot of pride there in saying, okay, we did something right in raising these kids.
Yeah. No, that's the thing with our lifestyle. You can't pick a better way to raise a family than what we've done. It's just our lifestyles. They don't come with CalPERS, and you can make your own 401k, but most of the time that money needs to go right back into the business. So that's our biggest thing going forward, is just keeping our ranch in our family, which it's gonna be. It just, we're thankful for Rangeland Trust. You guys have a product that's going to help us conserve that place and to keep it ranching, and we'll use it the way our grandfather intended. We're going to have animals up there. It may not be sheep like it once was. It's changed to cattle, and Steve and I and Paul and the girls will keep fighting the water fight and improving the water systems and all the different things we can do.
So what was the decision-making process like for the family when you decided to pursue a conservation easement?
Well, as you know, the history of it, we've looked into it for many years. We saw an opportunity, really, primarily to get rid of some debt, take some of the pressure off so that we could actually make a profit in the animal and the livestock, and it wasn't all going to the bank to pay the interest payment every year. We're still at that point. We have, like most agricultural families, are managing it because we have to. That goes without a choice. You choose to be an ag, then you figure out how to make it work. So there, like I said before, the legacy, and when I get really emotional about the ranch, the thought of not having my grandfather's ground that his feet have touched that I've never seen, that chokes me up. And I don't think that we will ever allow the ranch to be lost. I feel very confident in that. But what I do think is that you guys can make it a lot easier for us. You asked the question, how did it make me feel? I could see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and I was like, all right. So the boys do a lot of heavy lifting physically, and I sit at a desk a lot. So I thought, okay, problem solver. I need to solve a problem. So what am I going to figure out? Phone call, lots of phone calls, lots of talking to people. I hear all these great stories of how people have grown their operations, or ground that, was highly sought after, that was preserved, that is not going to become houses. It will maintain the legacy of someone else's family, which, is incredible. Some people would probably look at our ranch and say, why do you care if no one's going to build a house up there anyway? Maybe, or maybe they will. Who knows? I live in Bakersfield. I never thought it would be as populated as it is. So yeah, I see a lot of opportunity, and grateful that other people see the value in preserving agriculture.
Did you ask what was the reason for pursuing the easement? Was that the thrust of your question?
Yeah, and what was that decision-making process like?
Well, initially, when Mom and Dad bought the first part of the ranch, Standard Oil put it up first. They said we're going to sell it, and so I went to a meeting with Standard Oil and Dad. I was a little kid, and it was $1 million. This is back in the 90s or something. That was for the non-federal land. It was like a checkerboard, and we left that meeting and says, Paul, Sheepman has no business buying a livestock ranch. And they were going to pursue it. They had to, because if they didn't pursue it, someone else would buy it and the ranch would be gone effectively, except for 800 acres. To Christina's point, adding on, Mom and Dad wanted to grow. They didn't want to ride the wave. They wanted to grow the ranch, just the same as our grandfather did. He bought the ranch.
So Julie is the oldest of all the grandkids, and she's now returned to the ranch. And Peter's the next oldest?
Yeah.
Peter Jr. He's coming back to the ranch.
Yeah, he's helping on the farm right now, and then he helps. It's just like Paul, or hey, we need help doing this and that. He steps into place. So yeah, he's more focused on the farming, but he also does play a role in the livestock at a lesser level than Julia.
So how is that enthusiasm level with that next generation? Are those are the only two out of college now?
Yes. Yeah.
So others are working their way to that. So they're all the way down to very, very young. But how is that enthusiasm level with that next generation?
This came up last night. His mother, Allison, my wife, she was
What's her name?
current wife. Anyway, she goes, I asked him, we were up in Idaho at his recent wedding up there, and what do you think about working for family and your dad? He goes, I really like it. I'm enjoying how the crops progressing, and there's definitely enthusiasm there.
So what does it mean to be part of now a multi-generational ranching family in California? Given all the challenges we've talked about, but all the wars and the benefits, to kind of wrap that up, what's that mean to all of you? Let's start with Stephen.
It's a sense of pride at some level. I mean, you see your neighbors disappearing, going away, selling, leaving. Their kids are disinterested, things of that nature, and we're still here. We're still here, and we haven't stopped trying new things. We haven't closed our eyes. We're always looking forward for the next opportunity. So, for lack of a better word, it's a sense of pride.
Peter?
Yeah, along those lines, it's pride. It's kind of a rare thing anymore. So it's definitely something very special to be part of a very small group of people, be part of a family that cares about each other and our history and past, and what we're passing down, the skill sets. It's a big sense of pride, Like I said, it's a family operation, so there's a lot of other stuff that tags along with it, but we work through it, So it's all good. I love all these folks. So.
Paul?
What it means to be part of a ranching family, it's there are some requisites. We've learned growing up, you have to be stubborn. Basque is a good way to get going on stubborn. So we're good there. You have to be tenacious, which goes that stubbornness, but stubbornness is like, I'm going to keep digging this ditch with a shovel. Tenacious is, I'm going to find a better way to dig this ditch, and I'm going to dig this ditch. So you have to be stubborn, you have to be tenacious, you have to be faithful. One thing, all of us go to Mass every Sunday. We were raised Catholic. We still practice, but we never talk about it. It's kind of our own little private thing, right? There's Mom and Dad put a statue of the Good Shepherd. You've been there. I know that. On the Adobe Ranch, there's the Virgin Mary. Stubborn, tenacious, faithful. And you have to be honest. It's so easy to say, geez, I'm going through fire bar right now. No, you just left your house. I've done it. We've all done it. Just be honest, And it's if you're all those things, then you're somebody that can be trusted. And I think we're all somebody that can be trusted. We can trust each other. We can chew each other out too, but we can trust each other to chew each other out, right? And I think it's all those things that what it means to be things that the being part of the ranching family gave us those, gave them to us and forced us to use them.
Yeah.
You know, you could like do a good job, Johnny, get good grades in school. Then when you get an F, Johnny has to take school over again. You're forced to do it. You know, it's easy to say, boy, I'm sure glad that happened to you. It's just sad. I'll pray for you. No one ever does that. Bullshit. No one does it. And, but this being part of the ranching family has given us the values and forced us to use them. Yeah.
I should have gone before you. Thought I'd follow that. Same as they've all said, especially Paul. Being, I guess, the oldest female of the family, and having 3 of my 4 kids be females, it's good for them to see that, yeah, you can have a place in it. Yes, the boys do the welding for the most part. The girls can too if they want, but for the most part, the boys do that. But like the other day when we were really shorthanded moving cows, I got on the horse and had to ride, which was not good the next day. But
It was really good for you that day.
But I was like, oh my God, I still got it. And the girls were like, oh my gosh, Mom, I didn't know you could still get on. Well, they don't call me Mom. They call me Amma. They're like, I didn't know you could still get on a horse and ride. You did that? And I was like, yeah, like every weekend when Papa would call and say, hey, meet us at the ranch. So it's seeing is believing, right? It's one thing to think, oh yeah, well, I could do that or I could learn that. But then to actually see something happen, like everything Paul just said, Peter and Stephen, it puts a little different perspective, not only for you, but for those that are watching.
I'm willing to bet that the 4 of you and probably even Benita would not trade growing up this way for anything.
No. I mean, Benita went to Cal Poly too, and it was a 3-person car ride over. It's, you know.
When you got done with college, it's, you know, you had your degree in agriculture, but you could have been an electrician, a plumber, a cat skinner, or ran a road grader, drove a truck. I think probably the only you're missing is like, you know, haven't spent enough time in an office yet, but it's like trade school. It's like, you guys went to school for that? Oh no, we learned that like we were 9, you know, we got real good at it when we were like 15. So it's growing up this way. Yeah. I mean, you're a jack of all trades and master of none. I mean, if you're a brain surgeon, you want to master, right? So we're not that, but we're
Figured out though.
Yeah.
we can do a lot of things. You know, I don't think we'll ever go hungry. I don't think.
Well, and like Benita, she's not here obviously right now, but you know, they're headed to a family reunion. And, but for her, she married a cattle guy. Why on earth would she marry a cattle guy when she knows everything she knows? But it's because it was such a good experience.
Right.
And not saying it was easy, but you know, I know she has fond memories because she drags her kids up there too. And once they get up there, like my son goes looking for skulls, you know, and brings them home. So I have all these cattle skulls in the backyard. And she knows there's rattlesnakes up there, but still lets the kids run free. So it's a special place for all of us, all 5 of us, and Mom and Dad know it. They see it. And yeah, we do. I mean, we do want to grow it. We kind of have to. We don't have a choice. There's a lot of us.
Yeah.
It's sink or swim kind of deal. So that's where we're at.
Well, I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your schedules, as we know are extremely busy and it's a busy time of the year. But hearing your stories and your experiences, I think are so valuable to share. And thank you for doing that and opening up your home, your mom and dad's home for us today. And we will get this project done. I have no doubts whatsoever, so that we can permanently protect the El Gorriaga Ranch. And I know we will be very proud of it. And I hope that and know that you will be as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this special episode featuring the El Gorriaga family. While their story is uniquely their own, it echoes the experiences of countless ranching families across California, working tirelessly to keep their land together for their families and for the benefit of all of us. Right now, the El Gorriagas are partnering with the Rangeland Trust to conserve their ranch. I'd like to invite you to be part of this special opportunity. You can send a gift that helps another family experience the relief of knowing that the land in their care will remain intact forever. Visit rangelandtrust.org and click on Donate Now, or go to the Get Involved tab and click Help Conserve the El Gorriaga Ranch to learn more and join this effort today. That closes the gate on another episode of Tune Into the Land. We want to remind you that your feedback really matters to us, so share your thoughts by leaving a comment or a review. Let us know what you enjoyed, what topics you'd like us to dig into, and your suggestions for future guests. Don't forget to hit that follow button to ensure that you're notified when new episodes drop. Thanks for listening, and until next time.